Before I start this episode, two housekeeping matters. I'm giving away a guitar of mine. To find out more details, click here, take a look at it, and enter for your chance to win my guitar. Secondly, this particular episode that you are watching, I've been actually putting it together since March of this year with the parts that I ordered from December of last year. So some of the clips in the video from a couple months ago, a month ago, so they might not line up properly sequentially in the video. So to keep that in mind as you watch. Now let's go check it out.
This is Gus G, and you're watching Guitar Gear Guy. Thank you for tuning in.
Today's April 7th, year 2020. Believe it's been about 3 weeks, maybe a month. It's all a blur now that the mandatory city and state lockdown, self-quarantine has gone into effect. So everybody has a lot of free time at home. Might be a perfect time for a new guitar project. So actually, we need to rewind back a little bit. I ordered this body and neck back in December of last year, 2019. So it's been about 4 or 5 months in the making. The body and the neck just arrived actually last week, which was last week of March or early April. I had to order some other parts, and basically now now that we have a lot of free time, all of us, and I'm gonna spend some time to put it all together, and I'm gonna take you along with me as I put this thing together. Okay, so here I am showing you the trem system that I decided to go with, which was the Goto Fender style trem. And since the body and the rest of the build is also a faux Relic, I ordered this distressed appearance trem system, which Goto has, and it goes really well with the rest of the body in terms of aesthetics. As you can see, the saddles and everything else on that system really show, you know, the fake aging really well. Okay, so the first thing that I'm gonna do here is mount the actual bridge with the holes that were pre-drilled into the body from MJT, and basically to see if everything centers. So the bridge and the nut and the neck position after the neck was mounted, and making sure things will be dead centered through from end to end. I can already hear you saying, oh my god, Triple G, what are you doing with the power tool to get those screws in? I get it. I should be more finesse, use a screwdriver, but you know what? I just don't have that kind of time. So here we go. Alright, so the neck fit into the pocket very tight and snug, so that all looks good. So what the first step that we're gonna do is get the neck plate on so that we could get the neck secured so the rest of the build can go on. Okay, so the next thing that I need to do is install the nut that was supplied. So we're gonna go ahead and get that thing glued on now. Okay, so so that the nut can be glued on into the slot good, what I'm gonna do is use a sandpaper to scuff up the bottom of the nut a little bit so that it has uneven surface where the glue can get into. Okay, so I have not actually glued the nut down, so what I did was I put the nut in, but the nut is cut a little bit wider than the actual neck, and I think that's by design. And what I want to do is before I file the width of the nut down, I want to make sure that the nut is, you know, centered so that my sixth string as well as the first string, they're not shifting to one side or the other. So I'm gonna go ahead and quickly string up the sixth string and the first string only and kind of make sure the nut is okay, as well as checking the nut height at the same time to see if I need to file that down. Okay, so I don't know how much this is gonna be in focus, but based on what I am seeing, I think the nut definitely needs to, and I don't know if the camera is really picking up, but this part of the nut that's sticking out a bit, because again the nut is wider than the slot, so that needs to go in that way a little bit, it appears. So I'm gonna fine adjust the proper position of the neck and get that thing cut, and I'll be back. Okay, so nut has been filed down for somewhat of a better height. I have a little bit of a more filing to do on this side, so I have masking tape to protect the other side so I can file it down. In the meantime, I had to remove the neck for a second so I could mount the pre-wired pickguard from 920D. This is the Seymour Duncan everything loaded guard. So the body does not come with the holes pre-drilled for the pickguard to mount to. So what I did was I drilled the pilot hole for that hole, and I secured with the screws. So now what I need to do is drill the pilot holes for the rest of the holes to accommodate the pickguard, get that secured, then go ahead, get the output jack soldered back on. So see you in a bit. Hello everyone, how are you? This is yours truly, Triple G, coming at you once again on a very hot June 2020. So one of the things that divide the entire guitar player community, there are a couple of different things. I can think of one of those being the tone wood debate. And then there's another topic that divide us all, would be the kind of a faux relicing. Myself, for the longest time, I've thought and said any wear and tear and aging should be naturally and organically be done to a guitar, and wasn't really a big fan of fake relicing. And over the last several years, I did own two other guitars. One was a vintage, the British brand Vintage Les Paul copy that was a distressed kind of a fake relic, as well as I owned a LTD TE200, which I actually had never made a video of. Ended up selling that guitar, and that distressed was also a little too fake. Wasn't a real big fan of. That said, I got to find out about the MJT Mark Jenny, I think is the name behind the MJT brand. So late last year, I got to find out about the whole MJT brand, and I ordered the part and the body and the neck way back last year. And the parts came in around like March of this year, I think. And March, coincidentally, is when the whole COVID-19 lockdown quarantine thing began. So along with my day job being busy, I haven't had a whole lot of time being able to put it together, but I actually did have it put together around March time. So it's the guitar I'm showing you today. So before I go further, let's kind of show you what the guitar looks like, huh? So that's the headstock. It's not the traditional Fender look, and they give you the vintage tuners with it, and rosewood fretboard, 22 frets. The pickguard that you're seeing, as mentioned earlier, is Seymour Duncan Everything Axe. So what's cool about this pickguard is you get the traditional, where am I? Right here. So you get the traditional 5 position blade, but also this thing pulls out. The last tone knob here pulls out, where first of all pulls out, and so when you pull it out, basically it engages the neck pickup no matter what position you're in. So if you have it on position 5 and you pull out this knob, then you're using the neck and the bridge together, which on a traditional Strat position, that is not possible. And if you have it on position 4, where you would normally have these two pickups engaged, so engaging the neck pickup basically here gives you all access to all 3 pickups. So that's what's different about Everything Axe. So it goes JB Junior, Duckbucker in the middle position, and Little 59, which is very PAF like. Okay, so again, body's you know, fake relic, as I mentioned earlier. So a bunch of traditionally where you would see wear, that's where they have the relicing done. And back of the guitar looks as so, and even the neck, they ask you how much relicing you want. And you know, the neck carve is pretty familiar. So, and the plate, I just ordered the Fender plate and I slapped it on there. So I did think about putting the Fender neck on the guitar to basically make it a little more like Fender. But what I was afraid of is possibly the neck not fitting snug into the pocket, as well as perhaps the holes may just slightly not lining up properly. So those things I worried about, so ended up getting the neck from MJT as well as the body. So I can tell you honestly, as far as the fake faux relicing is concerned, it's actually a lot better than a couple of other ones I've had in the past. Also, you know, that being said, I've seen other guitars that are reliced better than this guitar. I think the body checking actually is a lot, in appearance wise, it looks a lot more legitimate than actual like a relicing where they distress the part like this, mimicking the belt buckle scratch. So I don't know if my camera will pick up the checking. Let me see if I can get it just right. Yeah, that's going to be tough to pick up. Maybe I almost have it. Yeah, so where the light reflection is, maybe you can see checking going on there. That said, you know, like a forearm contour, like over here and like over here, you know, they've done a pretty decent job at it, but it doesn't seem like this is. If you look at a really naturally aged guitar that has the wear and tear organically, you would notice they don't quite wear like this, where, you know, spot is, you know, definite, where you have more gradual wear and then hits the fully worn out part. So stuff like that may not be a true representation of a relic. However, like I said earlier, like the body checking here and the headstock, if I can again show, the checking going on over there looks a little bit more realistic. So, you know, the whole debate thing set aside, one of the things that I noticed with this guitar is, because it's already sort of a beaten up, it is the one that it's always out. It's a guitar that I care least about as far as getting it knocked around, bumping into something falling on it, whatever it may be. So somebody at some point told me the best guitar you have is the guitar that you play more often. So play more often, again, equals one that you can easily grab the easiest. So this is the one that is out all the time. It's not in a guitar, it's not in a case, it's just hung on the wall in my office here, and I grab it all the time, and it's just a pleasure to play. As far as why I went with this particular pickguard, so I have a couple other Strats, and I wanted to do something different, and especially something slightly less Strat-like, because I have a legit Strat and, you know, what have you. So I wanted it to be, you know, versatile. So you get the single coil type of sound out of the Duckbucker, and, you know, type of a music that I listen to that I enjoy more. You know, it's more suited for a humbucker, and all the rich creamy tone out of these pickups, and the way it's wired, where you can always engage the neck pickup to kind of what's the word here, less glassy. Of course you buy the Strat for that kind of a glassy chimey tone, but I want it to be a little bit different. And, you know, the beauty of Strat is, of course, always you can take the pickguard out or whatever and just swap the different, put in a different pre-wired guard in, and then there you go, you have a new guitar, a completely different guitar again. So that's that. And as far as the communication with the MJT, you know, throughout the whole build process, you know, I put the order in on December. It got delivered late March. So at the time of ordering, the guitar was the body and the neck was supposed to ship mid-March, and they were only about a week late. And through the process, they were extremely good. It's a family-run business, because I noticed everybody who was in contact with me they share the same last name. So they, you know, ask you what kind of a relicing you want, what kind of color. There's a whole bunch of gallery they point you to, which you can pick your color, what kind of aging you pick. And they also offer two different necks. One is more premium than the other. I got the lesser premium type of a neck, but the experience itself was really pleasant. Really nothing to complain about. So in conclusion, you know, basically it's a parts caster, but a body specifically produced to give you the look and feel of a Relic Strat. So if that's sort of your thing, and you do not have a ton of money to give to Fender Custom Shop to relic a guitar for you, perhaps this is a viable option. Now, for my particular needs, I don't gig, so I don't need these strap buttons, so I didn't even bother putting on no strap button. But everything else, right down to the trim, like you saw earlier, me putting it together, each part was picked by me, other than let's see, only part that I didn't have a say in the matter was it the tuning heads, or did they have an option? I forget, but this video is going on a little bit too long, so I'm gonna wrap up this episode, and I'll try to make my episodes a little bit more regular again. I apologize for sporadic output of my channel, but you know, day job, you know. All right, so that's it. I hope everybody is doing safe in this very tough time, and I hope to come back and see you again soon. Again, if you have not checked it out, check out the guitar giveaway video that I made last week. I will link it right up here. And until next time, I've been Triple G. You've been awesome. Be good humans and take care. Triple G out.